Barry Barnes in charge. And he, I think, will have a very, very interesting opening 5 or 10. So here we go, St. George and South. I hope you enjoy it. Rogers kicks off. Down to Niscott's corner. Comes out of the Paddington Hill. And a pretty big hit there. Winn didn't get his shot in, but Young and Walsh did. Dummy half tackle with the ball inside the 22 was Ellison. Here's Baker for the kick. Straight to Brian Johnson. But it was a bad bounce for the St. George fullback. And it's a good chase by South. They're going to peg him inside the 22. Oh, Darren McCarthy went in. There was a swinging arm there. The referee's got him for sure. Well, if Darren's going to go throwing punches or loose arms, I'd suggest respectfully that he does it with a little bit more discretion. In fact, looking at Darren jogging back reminds me of his father, Bob, who's probably here today at the cricket ground, but we are going live into Brisbane as we welcome in those viewers north of the border. The Saints taking it out. Bill Anderson. South used a lot of kicking in their recipe last week. Do you think it'll be exactly the same today?
Well, I think they will employ a kicking game, but I personally wouldn't employ the same tactics. I think firstly they could alternate their kickers between Baker and Coleman. Secondly, I'd be more inclined to direct the bombs towards the 2 St. George wingers rather than the fullback. Neither of the St. George wingers are tall men and they'd find it hard to go up for the ball. And thirdly, on occasions I think they could run the ball with either an inside pass or a long ball on the 6th tackle. And while they're similar tactics, it would give them some variation to their kicking game in the opposition quarter.
The kick was from Perry Haddock. The scrum will go down about 15 metres out from the South Sydney line, but Souths have got the feed and the loose.
And just while you're on the kicking, Ray, I think what you've said is true, that basically kicking is going to be the key to the game. How well St. George can get their kicking game in order, it was way off last week, and how effectively they can stop the South's kicking game.
Craig Coleman taken by Graham O'Grady. Craig is mouthing off out there. He said something to Graham Winn. He does plenty of talking, Craig. In fact, I think if you read through the fine print last Sunday, he was saying they were calling Manly everything bar the kitchen sink and they didn't respond. Not that they have to respond, of course. If their mind's on the game, they don't have to, but it's one of his chief attributes. Johnson holding it up, getting between them, turning it inside. Morris is tackled. 28 metres out from the South line. Niscott laying over him. Rogers. Jarvis. Hardy got a shoulder in there. Ellison made the tackle complete. Haddock, dummy on Young, second man run. Walsh, they're taking up this ball vigorously, but they're being met with some very solid tackling. Winn's out wide. Boyle's got him. Inside the 22 line. St. George, they're really revved up and they're hitting this ball up hard. Souths are hitting them back with the defence that they have to. Haddock kicks. Niscott covers. Oh, a clash of Niscott and Morris. Ellison's got it for South. Roy Masters, St. George coach, perched up on the top of the members. South's coach, Ron Willey. Billy Hardy kicks now for South. It'll go out on the full. It does. That's a bad mistake. You don't have to go for that much when you're kicking. Just try and put it down the middle as far as you can.
Yeah, South's had plenty of room to find some open space there, and they had plenty of room behind the St. George defensive line. I thought even that a short grubber kick over the line might have been successful. Johnson was very deep.
Rogers cut down by De Jura. Good tackle by the full-back. It had to be. Haddock, Winn, trouble for South. Johnston, hammering tackle. from Harrington.
There's an altercation in the back play, and Barnes has ruled play on. There are no South Sydney players in defence.
Well, this is shades of Lang Park. In fact, there are three altercations over on the right, and on the left now it's erupted there too. I'll tell you what, you need very wide-angle binoculars to see it in one go. That's what's happening on the right. Now this is what's happening over on the left. In the meantime, it's still going on the right. They've gone again. I thought it had been quenched, but it hasn't. They're throwing lefts and rights. Mario Fennick, Graham O'Grady, Hardy. Well, I'll tell you what, there's only now 5 players left on the field of play. They're still fighting and the crowd is booing. Well, if that was the preliminary, I'll tell you what, the main event will be a nice old Donnybrook. And if you're watching Ron McAuliffe, yes, you're right. I think that was worse than Lang Park.
Well, I don't know who started it, but whoever did, for mine, I hope they get sent from the field. I just think that's disgraceful. I don't think it was necessary.
I wonder how long that went, that fight. It must have gone on for over a minute. Young with blood on his face. Rogers was, he was copping plenty, Steve Rogers. Well, this is going to be interesting, how they're going to work this out. They might have to take it to the Supreme Court. Be nice trying to find out who started it. Yeah, forget the replays. There was too many fights for us to cover. Sufficient to say that Barnes is now having a long chat with Ian McCall. And out comes Rogers. And McCall is pointing his finger at Rogers. I think I said to you that Barnes was going to have an interesting opening 5 or 10. But I didn't expect him to have to control something like that. It spread like a bushfire. Now, where's he going? He's going right over to where play finished. That was in the Noble corner. But the heart of the fire was over in front of the Paddington Hill corner. It's called Darren McCarthy right across. Fennick is waving to the trainer to get out there.
He's obviously going to play the penalties to St. George. Gear is lining up to take the kick.
Yeah, well, this penalty was against South for not getting off the man tackled. If I can take you back that far. There was a Saints player tackled, and let me tell you, South just had to lay all over him because they were shot to pieces, the Rabbits. Graham Winn getting attention on the sideline. He was involved in an altercation that went longer than any other. Beattie getting attention. It was like the battle of the Little Bighorn. Here's Guerin, 12 in from touch. In front of the members' stand. Great goal kicker. There's none better. Would like to be on him. He's missed it. Just to the left. No score. Souths and Saints. Nearly 9 minutes gone. Very Haddock to take it back. He might ask for somebody else to do it. Johnson is taking it back. Baker's got him. Neil Baker ran third in the Dally M's on Wednesday. Jarvis hits it up. Some very, very mean defence in there. Rogers. Rogers with a beautiful kick. Finds the line. just inside the 22.
I'm sure that St. George have adopted the policy that South Sydney can't bomb if they don't get inside their quarter, and Steve Rogers in particular is keeping Souths pegged in their own half by a very astute kicking game.
And St. George come up with a scrum against the feed. That's a very handy scrum win there. Rogers, O'Grady. South's defence will have to be strong here. Vital part of the match, really. Young, Jarvis, Beattie, held by Neville. He's lost it. He's going to give a penalty. Well, he's claiming I called held and you stole the ball from him. I didn't see it that way. Boyle's brought the penalty, the number 9. I didn't see it that way. It looked like Beattie more or less lost it of his own doing. Let's see it on the close-up. Well, Boyle's had his hands on the ground, so how the hell he stole the ball's got me beat. Traditional arch rivals. And boy, did they dish it out in the 7th minute. Gearin. Kicking into a fairly heavily crowded Bradman. He's missed it again. Well, I'll tell you what, Souths have back one winner. 20 metres out now from the South Sydney line. Running into the Paddington Hill corner are the Saints. Here's O'Grady, and he's tackled by the number 13, and that's Rampling. Played back for Dowling, comes across, dummies inside, and then he goes himself, and he runs into the waiting arms of Mario Fennick. And here comes the bomb, I would think, from Perry Haddock's boot. He's to the left. Oh, Winn's decided to try and run, then throws a wild and woolly pass, and that's a turnover. No, he didn't. He said he wasn't held, and so Rogers gets the bomb in. De Jura's got it. Beattie's after De Jura, and can De Jura get back into the field of play? He can't. It'll be a line dropout, and a lot of people feel, in the crowd that is, that it should have been a turnover. But let me tell you, the St. George player was on the ground, and he had not been tackled. A hand must be placed on the man before a tackle can be effected, and he was quite in his rights to pass the ball. The drop kick isn't a bad one. In fact, it's a good one. It's gone right down inside the St. George 32, but he's back outside the 45 now and up to the halfway line, Brian Johnson. Graham O'Grady's gone to dummy half. He works the blind and finds the centre Johnston, inside for Dowling, inside for O'Grady, outside for Johnston. And here they go, the Dragons. Can De Jura stop him? He felled him long enough for Ackery to catch up. But St. George are starting to open up gaps in South. Haddock across to O'Grady, turns and was allowed to stand there like a colossus and gets his pass back for Jarvis to hit the deck. South, now they're reformed, now they've regrouped. It's with Morris running. Oh, beautiful ball from Morris. That's a try. It was pretty apparent. Graham Winn has scored in the Noble corner. Morris got out from dummy half, was allowed to run, and was allowed to put a magic ball onto the chest of Graham Winn, who's been living out wide. And here's Morris. Marker defence was non-existent. And then bang, he caught Neil Baker coming up, if anything, a little bit too fast.
Well, pace counts for a lot in football. You can see here Steve Morris used his to advantage. He cleared 2 defenders there by skipping out of dummy half. He found Graham Winn coming on a good flat run. It became one-on-one with De Jura, who just wasn't strong enough to hold him.
Now Gearin from on the 22. He's had 2 and missed them both. But this 4-0 lead might have boosted his confidence. He's missed it. Again, it's grazed the outside of that left-hand upright as he looks at it. So none from 3 for Gearin. St. George, however, leading by 4-0 against the Rabbits. Just a little passage of loss of picture. We apologise to Brisbane. Baker restarts for the Rabbits.
The South Sydney defence has always been very strong in the middle of the rucks, but out wide, where they're not quite as fast as their St. George counterparts, their defence isn't quite as strong, and there's no doubt that this is the area where St. George are trying to exploit. They're moving the ball 2 or 3 up the middle, employing a kicking game, but when they get into the South Sydney half, then they're spreading the ball out wide, both open and blind sides.
Knock on by Dowling at the dummy half spot. scrum going down. Ever so tiny. South winning a scrum. Now they put on a rehearsed move, but Ellison is tackled by Rogers. Right in the centre of the ground on the St. George 22. Played by Neville. Coleman. Boyle. It's rather a rare sight, in fact, to see South Sydney running the ball. Saints haven't really had to do much tackling. Mario Fennick! Mario Fennick! Oh, he's come down a metre from the line. Boyle is the dummy half. Referee says play it. Boyle gets it to Baker. On to Coleman. Holds it back. Oh, beautiful ball. It deserved a better fate, that pass from Coleman. Last tackle. Here comes the South Sydney bomb. Hardy puts it up straight across the ground. And Jarvis shouldered a South player. He may give a penalty. He's got Jarvis. He's got Jarvis. Good refereeing by Barnes. McCall goes in to make a report. Watch for Pat Jarvis shouldering a South player out of the road. And Barnes sees it. And here it is coming up. Bang, there it is. And the penalty will go to the Rabbits right in front.
But that bomb was put up by Bill Hardy, and it's an example of the fact that South Sydney are prepared to vary their bomber. It's not just going to be Neil Baker, they're going to use Coleman and Hardy as well.
Well, of course, if your dummy half can kick, Bill, it doesn't matter where on the paddock, but if your dummy half can kick...
It's pretty hard to stop him, isn't it?
Well, that's right. But the point, of course, is that the others, if they are back 5 metres off him, well, he's got 5 metres start to keep them all on side. And it's easy for a referee. He just says, well, the dummy half put it up, everybody was onside. So Baker's got the easiest kick you'd ever want to get. 65.6% is his success rate. Takes a big breath. Just settles the nerves probably. Hits it, he's got it. He looked pretty tense there for a moment, Neil Baker, but he'd be feeling good now. St. George 4, Souths 2. Won by the Dragons. Rogers away from Baker, taken by Ellison and Neville. South's backs are standing very flat. They are, in fact, I know it might be an unorthodox tactic, but they are, in fact, setting themselves up for a little kick on the first tackle. They're 10 metres short of the halfway, St. George. Jarvis, Haddock, Rogers, O'Grady. There's the ring of defence getting up to turn them back into the middle. And it's a Shepherd against Stevie Morris. I think he's taken one on the left eye for his business. Penalty to South. Well, Neil Baker will kick for goal. And he's in there with some hope. He's about 38 metres out, I'd say. Standing room only. For those that didn't get a reserved. Here's Baker. Fills the lungs. Sets the compass finally. Hits it. It's gone low. He likes it. He's got it. Baker's got it. And he's levelled up for Souths. The Dragons and the Rabbits are 4-4 now. Crowd starting to get that chant going. Both clubs have got good followings when they're going well. Harrington with a good solid run. 4 points all. Well, it's more respectable than 14-0. And that's the situation that South had to come back from last Saturday. Fennick, a little stooge out to the open, and then they hit it back blind with Hardy. Dummy half Fennick. There he goes again. Away to Baker. Baker thinks he sees an opening. He's taking a mauling in there. Haddock's got him with Walsh and Rogers. Rogers has come out of it pretty sick. It's a penalty to South. I'm looking at Steve Rogers, though. He's come out of it a little bit wounded. Off goes Fennick, taking a tap. Might as well, I suppose. Finding the line might have been difficult. Now they spin it. And here's Hardy. Very good player, this man, Bill Hardy. Gets a pass away. Here's Bronco de Jura. Gets a fend on one of them. He sat Dowling on the seat of his pants. And the crowd is roaring. Fennick passes, finds Coleman, cuts out Rampling, goes to Ackery, spins, hit by Rogers. Dummy half is Dean Rampling in 13. Craig Coleman hits the blind. Boyle. 32 metres out from the St. George line. Away goes Harrington. Gains 5. And there's a bit of ground there, Bill. A bit of ground being made by dummy half runners for South. The bomb goes up from Baker. Niscott's going through fast. Baker's been felled late. Johnson takes the ball. Referee Barnes is going to have to take a report from his touch judge. McCall has gone on. Baker's clutching at his face. The crowd roaring for a penalty. Here's Baker. He takes the bomb. What's happening? And Beattie came through and got him.
If he does miss it, it won't be by far.
So Mark Ellison has the chance to boot South to a 2-point lead. He's got it! The Rabbits are in front. Souths 6, Saints 4. The NEC big game, minor semi-final. This scrum will just pack, and that's all. If Souths come up with it, they'll kick on the first. There's the siren. The ball went straight through, and he's going to call a halt. And don't tell me this. Yeah, it's on again. Very quickly was that fire put out, and Souths are off. Running for the dressing rooms. And what a first half. Mightn't have been sensational football, but I tell you what, it was damn tough.
Just before they get underway in the second half, if I can take just 1 second to say to young Scott Campbell, the lad who's waiting for heart transplant in St. Vincent's, from all the eastern suburbs fellows, they wish you all the very best. They know you're going to do it, Scotty, okay?
Here's Morris coming out for St. George, opening seconds of the second half. This is Dowling. Now Jarvis. Young. Cut out ball on Walsh, finding Winn out wide. McCarthy's got him. Parselman. 12 metres on the St. George side of halfway. Across for Perry Haddock, and now to Rogers, across to O'Grady, but Ackery went up and O'Grady threw a... Well, it's turned out all right, but I tell you what, it looked a bit dusty to me. Now Jarvis has got a one-hander back to Haddock. And maybe the instruction from Masters is just go out there and squeeze out whatever you want to as far as passes are concerned, because that's the only way you're going to knock these blokes off their game. And looking at this opening passage of play, there's a penalty going to South for a pass to a player in an offside position, but just looking at 3 passes there, Bill, you'd swear blind Roy said go out there and just try anything.
Yeah, she would have expected they would have just tried to get their house in order, regain their composure, because they certainly lost that after the brawl, and play safe percentage football. But that's not the case. They've opened up as if they mean business, St. George. And you know, if you're prepared to take risks, it can work for you, but it can also work against you.
Sure can. Can work against you when you're playing a team like South, who they mightn't score length of the field tries, but if you give them a chance down inside your 22, they got a very good David Boyle heading for the ground in a hurry, and Perry Haddock, the poor little bloke, was underneath them, and Haddock's injured. The tackle on Boyle was a beauty, but all that happened, he drove Boyle straight down on top of Haddock, and Haddock can't get up. So Souths have got Hardy in possession, a hand down to Baker. It's gone to de Jura, and de Jura's tackled inside the 22 line. Haddock is still on the ground.
Fennick passes and finds Coleman. Coleman looking for the opening. He's got a pass back to Jarvis for St. George. And Jarvis plays it. Fennick strikes for it. This is the first tackle we're on now. He's nullified the tackle count. A speedy ball across the line to Beattie. And the Saints are now 8 metres short of the halfway. Rogers, long pass out to Jarvis. Jarvis goes back infield. Looks to get a good ball by Jarvis. Rogers to Guerin. Guerin is tackled.
They can't really understand St. George are using Jarvis to organise plays, becoming one of their playmakers, 1 and 2 off the ruck. And I think Pat Jarvis is a tremendous footballer. He's a sound tackler, a good scrummager, and he hits the ball up hard. But I would have thought there were other players in the St. George side better adept at organising play.
Graham Winn has made a huge run. There's double trouble for South. Awful trouble. Brian Johnson goes around to score behind the uprights. And the Dragon fans breathe a sigh of relief. They're back in front, and they scored that try with just 12 men. Perry Haddock was still on the ground, receiving attention as the ball went to Rogers. Graham Winn shaped a pass and got in between them and beat Rampling. Got away from the winger, drew the fullback, and Brian Johnson, the fullback, backed up to score. A good try made possible by Graham Winn.
The holds against the Rabbitohs are out wide, both blind and open sides. And here's Steve Rogers, read play well. He picked up Winn, who shrugged off a tackle from Dean Rampling, made a long break, and he had options both outside and inside, but he made a very good selective pass. He decided that he'd pick up Brian Johnson on the inside, and really Johnson just strolled over under the post for a very easy Dragons try.
So Guerin takes the conversion, and there's the flags in the air. Right in front the kick was. Guerin kicked it. And now it's St. George leading by 10 points to 6. Baker places it for the restart. Haddock's okay again. Kick deep. Oh, it's gone over the dead ball line. It's a line dropout. That was a Yorker. Straight underneath Steve Morris. And got him middle peak. So, little breeze at their backs. South down 10-6. Bronco de Jura goes back with it. Blindside to Coleman. This man is Ziggy Niscott, playing his last season in Sydney. Fennick, Coleman, Baker, Rampling. He wouldn't be all that happy with himself at the moment, Dean. He was the man that missed Winn. Long cutout ball, finding Neville out wide. Neville flung to the ground, just outside the St. George 22 line. Fennick, Hardy. They're outside the 22 South. Bad pass. Bronco de Jura's got it. He puts up a bomb. There shouldn't be much pressure here. Brian Johnson takes it easily. And he gives it to Slippery Morris. He's on a 75-metre run. They won't catch him, I don't think. Morris is going to score. Baker comes at him. Try. Try to Morris. Great football by Brian Johnson. Great football by Brian Johnson. And a tremendous run by Slippery Morris. Dally M Winger of the Year. De Jura gets this kick up. It didn't really have any purpose, the kick. But watch Johnson. This is where the try is made. He takes it and he quickly says, we've got you outnumbered on the right. And away goes Slippery Morris and Billy Anderson. I've done it once, you do it this time.
Well, we saw the bomb work for South Sydney last weekend, but today it worked against them. It wasn't a good kick by South. Unfortunately, there was a breakdown between the receiver and the dummy half, and that's the result of it. A great try to Steve Morris.
So Steve is carrying his own water bottle. That's the prize for scoring 75-metre tries. You get your own water bottle. Now Guerin from the sideline. Plenty of concentration there. He's been offline today. 22 out. Sideline kick. Ah, great kick. That's the real Steve Guerin. Would the real Steve Guerin please stand up? Not you, Steve Guerin. St. George 16, South Sydney 6.
Rogers has done a very good job for St. George today. He's read play particularly well, and there's no doubt that he was included in the team as captain specifically for the job to control and organise play, and he's done that. He recognised then that South was short down the blind side, switch play there, and only for a fumble it would have been another St. George break.
South scrum. Neville, De Jura, away from Beattie, gets it on to Darren McCarthy. Rogers chases. Oh, gee, Darren seems to put his head back and he seems to lose track of who's around him. It's the second time he's done it in the match today. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's going to be beaut, but gee, he puts the head back and doesn't have a look around and see who's with him. Hardy. South are starting to throw it about. De Jura, it's gone behind Fennick. He wins the race back for it. Dummy half Nescott. Rampling. Midway 22 halfway. Saints into the ground. Baker. Across and they run it back in towards the middle with Boyle. 5 tackles gone now. Getting very dark at the cricket ground. Very dark. Baker puts up another bomb, but they're all a long way out. Oh, Brian Johnson, take it down. Beautiful take. Here's the bomb, and here's Brian Johnson looking beautiful as he gets right up above them. Jarvis. Boyle's got him.
Saw Craig Young there in his own quarter take the ball to the defensive line and pop up a pass, but for mine I think that you can do that too often. I prefer to see Craig getting particularly deep, running hard and deading the line, really hitting it as hard as he possibly can and putting some holes in it with his body.
Walsh.
That's the way to run the ball up.
Gee, and does he do it well. With Walsh, Jarvis and Winn doing that, I tell you what, takes a lot out of you in defence. Nice little kick ahead. And it's Harrington with the ball for South.
Young kicked the ball then down the blind side. I thought he would have been better to pass it. St. George had a 3-on-2 situation, and had they passed it, they would have been running the ball into a lot of free space.
Bronco De Jura to play it. Baker. Neville. He's lost it. O'Grady comes away with it. Young. Haddock. Dowling. Jarvis. Playing confidently now, St. George. Rogers to O'Grady. Now to Johnston. On to Slippery Morris. He's over again. Steve Morris scores his second try. Slippery Morris, the 84 winger of the year, as that sign depicts. Wow. St. George played this passage of football ever so confidently. They kept it alive. They kept ad-libbing it. Haddock was able to get a pass away. So was Dowling. Jarvis just threw it and said, who wants it? Rogers said here. O'Grady went there. And then it goes to Brian Johnston. And Steve Morris goes zip off that right foot. And he's home singing ragtime. And then there's this little chapter that happens between he and Mario Fennick. And Fennick wasn't all that happy with it.
The South Sydney defence was unable to stop the progress of the ball, so George just kept popping up pass after pass, till eventually it was Brian Johnson who was running in a hole, fired the pass to Steve Morris. He stepped off the right foot and beat 3 defenders, and he finally was able to go over and score under the posts for the try that will seal the match.
Kick was successful from Guerin. Scoreline, Saints 22, South 6. Well, even if beaten, and it does look as though that's the way it's going for South, they've done themselves proud. I know it's not much of a consolation, but heavens above, they've fought against all odds.
got to a playoff, won that, got to a semi, won that, and then it appears they've met their Waterloo here at the Sydney Cricket Ground today. But at half-time, there were plenty of people prepared to say they'd win. I sure thought they were going to. Jarvis. Fenwick and Ackery making the tackle. Fenwick strikes for the ball, and it's with St. George. 6 more tackles, says referee Barnes. Graham Winn. And still they go in, and the occasional punch is thrown. Did I say occasional? Haddock, Rogers, Baker comes in quickly. Rogers throws him away. Brush Neil away, Neil Baker away, like a fly on a summer's day. Rogers, as if to say, I'm still in this competition, I'm still able to stand up with the best of you. And he's done that today. In fact, these 2 great footballers for St. George, Rogers and Young, have played solid football this afternoon. But I still think the 2 stars for the Dragons have been Steve Morris and Brian Johnson. A shot for goal for Guerin. .22 metres up. Nearly on the touchline. And there's the shot that he's got. In fact, he's having a look at himself on the Diamond Vision screen, actually placing the ball. Times have changed, haven't they? Guy said to me, yes, as I'm going to the cricket ground for the first time since 1971. Has much changed?
Is anything the same?
I said, we'll drive past the joint. We'll drive straight past it. Plenty of loyal South Sydney supporters up till this point in time are now filing away. If Guerin pots this, it'll be the second from the same mound. Oh, gee, can he kick, or what could he do? He's kicked it. St. George 24, South Sydney 6. Harrington. Harrington has moved into the centres for South. Biles to the wing. De Jura in a beaten side has played well. McCarthy. Andrews away. Oh, no, he's not. Rogers held him. Hardy's got it now. Penalty for stealing the ball against Mike O'Connor.
At the completion of the game, no person will allow on the Sydney Cricket playing area.
Baker finding touch. 4.5 minutes of time remaining. I thought at half-time, when the scoreline was 6-4 to Souths, that we were in for another nail-biter like we had twice last weekend, but it hasn't reached those proportions. Andrews has put Ellison into a gap. Johnson's got him covered. 18 metres out from the St. George line. Baker, McCarthy, Boyle. Inside ball required for De Jura to go ahead. 10 metres out. But he's popped it down to a St. George player. And Chris Walsh comes up with it. Rogers passes.
Comes off Darren McCarthy, picked up by Haddock, spun to Young, now to O'Grady. They're all pretty tired out there. Plenty of passes, but not too many runners. O'Grady gets up slowly. Winn gives it to Jarvis. Young, O'Grady. Out to the quarter. Haddock, Rogers, O'Connor. Watch him. Tackled on the 22. Guerin gets a kick in. It's going down towards the 22 line. DeJura has played at the ball. Tackled out on the 32. So the end of Souths for 1984. We're down now to Parramatta, Canterbury, St. George. And it seems like this is the most open premiership that we've had for quite some time. We always, in the last few years, seem to have been talking about, well, A will definitely play B. It didn't always work out that way, but this year everybody has been saying, just about anyway, the big three, or the big four when you include Manly, would fight it out. And so it comes to pass as O'Grady passes to Morris. Morris kicks ahead, Guerin chases. Boyle's leading the race though. And Boyle will play the ball for South.
Morris would have been far better served then to have looked inside rather than kick the ball. His wing partner, Steve Guerin, was looming up on the inside, looking for that inside ball, and he had a fairly free run towards the South Sydney line. He may not have scored, but he had the opportunity.
So Morris and Baker have reason to disagree. Very unlike Neil Baker to get involved in something like this. It only leads me to believe that this penalty has been given the right way. I'd say that Steve Morris was doing a bit of spiking in there. Biles. Ooh! He ran on to the shoulder of Pat Jarvis. And Pat virtually said, welcome to the arena. We've been doing this for 75 minutes now. Come on in, shut the door. Oh, good football, Souths. Was that move they've been telling us about, Wally?
Yes, that was the little run around with Dujura coming into the hole, and he made a good long split.
33 seconds to go. St. George moving on to play the preliminary final. And still the baiting goes on, still the niggling continues, and still players want to take it on. Taken a long time for the fire to go out here. There's the countdown. The ball finishing with Graham Johnson. And it's all over. St. George. And they're still going. St. George, through sheer class and experience, they'd be the two words that I would use, through sheer class and experience, have overcome this gutsy South Sydney side. A side that at half-time, I think, had the weight of numbers of admirers. But St. George, so much experience there, so much class. They came around 2 points down, went into the second half, and they came out 24-6 in front, so they kept South scoreless for the last 40 minutes.